What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Jean Grey issue number 1. This mini-series of 4 issues picking up with Jean Grey. After the events of the Hellfire Gala, Jean's life is in shambles. Mutantkind is in dire straits, and there is nothing that this founding X-Men can do. To save Mutantkind, she must first save herself. And this means diving into her past, for the moment when it all went wrong. She does this in a desperate attempt to save her and all Krakoa's future. And so as we continue on with the fall of X, the question now being pondered, can Jean Grey escape death? Make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we start with Mind Maze. In this very moment, Jean Grey is dying. For her, this is nothing new. She has been here many times before, but right now she knows that she is running out of time. In this moment, she feels like it is her fault, that it always has been. Why else would she be here? What did she do that was so wrong that led to this inevitable event? And so she thinks. She tries to remember. If she can understand, maybe she can fix everything. But right now, she is finding it very hard to think. Her mind feeling broken, her memory scattered. With each image, a place where she chose. She could have chosen differently. Trying to grab hold, she starts at the beginning. She was born in death. At least as a mutant. When Professor Xavier offered to block out her control of the telepathy, just one of her emerging psi powers, should she have said no? In the moments that she had it blocked, she was glad that he did. And when old Hank arrived from a terrible future asking the young X-Men to travel through time to save the world, how could she refuse? They jumped right into the future, where lost in time, their presence made things worse. That's until young Cable from their future convinced them to return to their time, to the very moment that they left, to forget the future and everything that they did there. And that is what brings us to the exact moment that we are at. She does a memory wipe on all of them. Was this the moment that she was wrong? But then she thinks, what if we don't forget what happened to us? What if we need that knowledge? That they change the future now by changing their now to keep the skills that they developed and remember everything. The way that Jean saw it, this gave them a huge advantage. They have control over their powers now. They have seen in the future, a batch of futures, so they know what to avoid, like the Phoenix. They know who will be the good guys and who will be the bad guys. At least some of the people in some of the futures. This could give them a head start. This is when Professor X gets into everybody's mind and tells them to report to the danger room, worried that Professor X is going to read their minds. Jean Grey says that she has blocked him out, at least for now. But this is what takes us over to the danger room. This is hardly a challenge for them after what they had been through. But with the training session coming to a quick end, this is because Magneto is attacking in Manhattan. And this is where Professor X learns that Jean Grey's block on her telepathy is gone, that she can now control the power. And now with her at full power, they are ready to stand against evil, telling Professor X that he will see. They make their way to Manhattan and they face against Magneto. He is saying that the humans must cease their attacks on their superiors, on Mutantkind, that what he is about to do is a retaliation for the assault on mutants, a demonstration and a warning, as he begins to snap the suspension bridge. Our X-Men do everything they can to try and stop him, but we see that they are quickly wrapped up. But as quickly as they are wrapped up, we see Jean Grey able to knock off the helmet of Magneto. She tells him that he is a fanatic, a terrorist, that his threats to annihilate humanity will destroy them all. It will make people afraid, with Magneto saying that you remain Charles' stooges. Jean says that that's not exactly true, because what she is about to do, Charles would never. She has seen the terrible place that his mania will take them, and she will not allow this. With Magneto falling down to the ground, Cyclops asking what happened to him, Jean stopped him. He's alive, but he is now a blank slate. She knows where his hatred will lead. She believes that it is better this way for everybody. and changing the minds of all the local witnesses, changing their perception. Today is a win for the X-Men. The news reporters, everybody. They are all reporting that the X-Men are here to help. Weeks later, we pick up with the news talking about X-Men, talking about Mutantkind. After what had happened, the X-Men have moved out of the mansion. They made other plans using Warren's inheritance. This is when Hank comes into the room with his Cerebro, his enhanced Cerebro. This will make locating emerging mutants much easier. The improvements augment its portability and its sensitivity. In theory, it should register the first quivers of power ever to emerge. Give them the time to step in and make sure that everybody is safe. With Jean putting the helmet on, they get their first hit. A kid with psi powers. Panicking, scared, terrified. They're not sure if they can get to this kid in time, and when they head out, before they can reach the building, there is a fiery explosion. As our heroes jump in and they try to save as many people as possible, Jean Grey comes upon the boy, 12, maybe 13 years old. She stayed with him. She eased his pain. She did everything that she could do in this moment for this young boy. As we pick up later, the news reporters talking about the heroism that the X-Men did today. It is believed that this was a gas leak explosion, but we all know that this wasn't a gas leak. Only those that Jean was able to manipulate actually believe this. But they are more worried about the Sentinel robots. Trask has been making moves, and she worries that if they think that this was a mutant, then that would only solidify the Sentinels making their arrival. It doesn't take long before it is discovered that the gas leak was a cover-up. Trask calls this a mutant attack, and so he created Task Force Operation Sentinel. The Sentinels are now in the skies. Their first attack is attacking the X-Men, and the minute that a mutant power manifests, Trask will be able to get them. From their time in the future, they already know who some of these mutants will be, and so they use Cerebro to go find them. The first being Kitty Pryde. Jean Grey using her powers manipulating Kitty's parents, making them believe that she is headed off to boarding school. The next on the list is Danny Moonstar, and then Sam Guthrie. One by one, they are picking up the mutants that may be able to help them, that will have an impact in the future. Not sure where to hide these kids, they take them to Charles Xavier. Charles currently sitting down with Magneto. The two of them have been working together. Charles has been working to get Magneto's mind back. Now, while Charles goes on to say that Jean and Magneto are thinking a lot alike these days, she refutes this. She says that she is no terrorist, that she won't use her powers to kill. But Magneto says give it enough time and you will. But Jean didn't come here to argue. Jean has come to give these kids, or adults as well, over to Charles. A place where they can stay safe. But we also see the X-Men team, they split. Warren and Bobby, they refuse to carry on and follow Jean. Picking up later that evening, we are picking up with our reporter and Hank. Now, Trish and Hank, they are having a conversation about sources on evidence on news articles, so on and so forth. And while he is trying to tell her to not write these articles, that they are just fear-mongering, while they have this conversation, Jean Grey uses her powers. There will be no story written by her. And while Hank thought he was getting through to her, Jean says that she's a telepath and she would disagree. When Hank has the anger begin to get the better of him, Jean hits him with her power as well. This is where everything is starting to fall apart for her. Thinking to herself that she is a monster, that she tried so hard. She listened. She did what she could, but she was wrong. You kill a snake by cutting off its head. You stop the leaders. You make the rest afraid. But how could she do this? She is only one person. This is when she felt it begin. This is when the Phoenix begins to take over. That if she is going to save them, save all of them, she needs to become a bigger monster. She needed to be more powerful. With her newfound power, she begins to take out any with the rhetoric that would be anti-mutant. With a single thought, she is decimating her enemies. Now, the rest of the X-Men, they already know what this is. They know the Phoenix. While her motives may be pure, she is only making things worse. And the president's speech the other day, he is buying into the heightened anti-mutant hysteria, believing that maybe he might be next. With Jean no longer trying to hide her energy signal, even without Cerebro, she is not hard to miss. And so the X-Men head out, with Jean seeing so many against her. Even Magneto. Charles Xavier is trying to talk her down, while the others, they are trying to restrain her. They are trying to stop her. They use everything in their arsenal, and it is still not enough. And with all the voices in her head, everybody fighting her, it is all so overwhelming. We see a huge fiery explosion. Everything and everyone, in one fell swoop, she says to go away. And she finds herself alone. No one else with her but the Phoenix. That her idea, her willfulness, her pride, her fault. But she has learned that option no longer exists. She sees it now. The next possibility. The next choice. She knows exactly where it all went wrong. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is a nice little trip down memory lane. This is really seeing where Jean Grey comes from, where her beginnings are, how all of this started. And like a caterpillar getting into its cocoon, we are gonna see this thing come out emerging a beautiful butterfly. Jean Grey is in the middle of her metamorphosis, while searching for any kind of way, figuring out what happened, how it all led to this moment, how it all led to Krakoa's fall, to her death. Was there something different in her past that she could have done? Was there a different direction that she could have taken? While she sits here and she ponders the what ifs, she tries to find a moment in time that might be different, that might change the course of everything that has happened. But I think the inevitable truth is that there is no changing it, that the past is the past. It happened, and now the only way out is forward. But could this be the rebirth of Phoenix with Jean Grey? Could we see that power reignited in her yet again? Will she be able to conquer death? Will she be able to stop it before it is too late? Or will she be the cause of her very own resurrection? Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with the Fall of X, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this era. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.